Hi,
Hi, friend.
how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm figuring it out. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just got off the phone with my doctor
Okay. What'd she say?
that they have some antibody tests.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that this week. I'm gonna do an IV with some vitamins just to get more of that in my body, make sure I'm hydrated. And she's gonna give me a nasal spray for anxiety, because like no matter what's happening, no matter what, like I just cannot at this point control my anxiety. Like I am let me turn these comments off so I could just focus on you. Okay, I'm in touch with myself to say it is okay to be anxious right now. Like even because then I get anxious for being anxious. So I just have to do what I have to do. And I did the treadmill the other day for the first time in a while, and I don't know if, because I think I had the coronavirus, my lung capacity is very different than it was before. And I don't know if that's because I haven't done the treadmill in a while or because I haven't been outside and haven't been as active as I usually am. But I've noticed that my breathing is very different.
Yeah. Well, it's just you having to bring attention to the fact that you normally don't give yourself that time to spend with enhancing your breathing patterns and balancing out all the things that you have going on. So
Yeah.
that's a normal feeling. We all are having it. I have those exact same feelings. It's like, do I feel good? You like questioning yourself,
Yeah.
even though you know you've been doing the right thing, but because there's so many uncertainties, it's been like a little bit more challenging because you and I both know that we're never at home this long. So it's like I can't sit still. What else can I do? How many more things can I be involved in, or how much better can I take care of myself now? Is what we're starting to have a little bit more mindfulness about. So the normal
Yeah.
feeling, some days you don't feel like doing nothing. Some days we can't believe that this is happening. Some days we're just so sad and down about it. And some days we're like, okay, I'm not going to let myself feel like I felt yesterday. I'm going to kind of do more. I'm going to work out more. I'm going to see what else made me feel good. And I think we have to keep focusing on the things that's making us feel good. So that balance.
Yeah, and I had been saying publicly, like some of my challenges has been watching the effect it's had on other people, and I was glad that I think I posted yesterday. I was glad that one of the followers of Hollywood Unlocked saw the comments and donated $15,000 so we can give away $1,000 every day for the next 15 days. So that's something that's going to bring me joy to be able to get up and give away $1,000 every day,
Yeah,
for 2 weeks. So and
that's great.
hopefully I can inspire some of my rich friends to donate some money too.
Yes, for
So
sure. I mean, those are the things, like you said, those are things that make you feel good. So you can kind of live off of it and feed off of it and share it a lot more with everyone. So that's so exciting to hear. I was happy. That made me feel good to hear when you said that yesterday, that there was some people who want to really help. And so we have to just keep helping each other. I think this is the time right now as a globe, as a world wide, like we need to focus on the fact that we have to care and help each other more than we ever have before. I mean,
right.
all these different countries that are doing different treatments and reporting cases and offering these antibody tests and showing, what we're doing to get past this point. Um, we got to focus on that. That's a good thing. And then we have to just continue to share it and know that the days are getting better and what we can do to continue that as we move forward with the path. So happy, applauding you every day because all the information that you share, when I look around social media and what everybody else is kind of doing, I'm not quite seeing people match your love and care and your sharing abilities that you're having right now. So I
Yeah.
know we're changing lives, we're saving lives by just sharing. Sometimes the information kind of becomes repetitive, but I think we have to keep plugging it and sharing it and know who we have access to reach so that we can keep doing that. So you want to
And it
talk?
also reminds us of the saying that, like, check on your strongest friends too, because I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people may think like, wow, like Jason's a strong person, which I am a strong person. But I mean, even if the strong get vulnerable, I kind of feel like, you know, um, somebody had said to me yesterday, "Oh, this feels like being on house arrest." I'm like, "No, house arrest. You can still go out to work. House arrest. You can still have people come over.
Yeah.
This is worse than house arrest. This is like I'm okay with slowing down,
Mm-hmm.
but although my work is still work, like I still have my shows, I still have my podcast, I still have everything and the lives and all that. I just I'm not, like you said, we're never in one place this long.
Yeah,
I've never
never.
been in the house for a month, like almost
Yeah,
2 months. Like I've been in the house almost 2 months now.
right, right. My dog is looking at me like, "What happened to your job and your life? What are you doing? Why are you here in my space?"
Right, right, right.
Daily, because we have to change that narrative a little bit, but it's all good. We're gonna keep making it.
So what updates do you have?
Well, I think we still have to focus on the prevention and to monitor some of the symptoms that I see that are happening. I have a few of my friends and clients, athletes, that are sending me new symptoms, and it's nothing more than one of the fourth. So we talked about the shortness of breath, and we talked about the coughing and the high temperature. It's like some people don't even have thermometers. So noticing the things that you can have around the house, I think there are still important updates for us to recognize. I was listening to one of the shows this morning talking about the sign and symptom of not being able to smell or to taste. And I've had more than 3 people send me a message or call or say that they are having that symptom of not being able to smell and taste. So we know that it's an upper respiratory. So your nasal passage, which is also connected to your tasting and your smelling, can just kind of go away sometimes. They want you to have some mint or some piece of fish or a piece of leather and see if you can really smell, kind of test your senses and check on that. So we really have to start focusing on other symptoms of these asymptomatic type of people and really just know what our normal daily routine should be. I also like to see what, it's sad enough, but what's happening in New York, things are getting better. We have seen progress with them having more ventilators and having more space. I know there's been some death, and I'm so sorry to hear about all of that because I know we're all affected. But we are moving through this curve now and starting to see more changes. And so that the France research that was happening with all those patients, it was over 1,000 patients that were using that treatment, which was the hydroxychloroquine and the azithromycin. That was good to see that there was only 20 people out of 1,000 that needed to go into the ER. So I'm still really just tracking some of the progress and some of the positive things that's happening from doing a lot of the treatments that's happening outside of our city right now, but within our city at the same time too. We can use some of those same tactics. So that's good stuff.
So let's take a few questions. So this person says, I wake up and not trying to get dressed. I cry like twice a day, go for a walk, but still feel the same. What else should I do? One thing I will say is, we're going to be doing these Women's Wellness Wednesdays with like Iyanla Van Zandt every Wednesday. So Iyanla will be here on Wednesday at 12. And, I feel the stress. Like, I feel like the one thing everybody should definitely do is give yourself permission to be stressed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you should try to stress yourself out or want to be stressed, but give yourself permission to be stressed because this is not a normal situation. Like,
right.
This is not a normal situation. And as much as I'm trying to adjust to the new normal, I'm also trying to be hopeful that this new normal will be modified soon. Soon being 30 days, 60 days. Like, we know the dates keep changing. We have until May 15th now here in Los Angeles, different places around the country. But I feel like giving yourself permission to be stressed will relieve you of the stress of feeling stressed.
I agree with you. I think everybody needs to recognize that that's okay to feel that way. And it's okay to be sad about it. You have to have that feeling, but then let it move through you at the same time. It's like, if your day wasn't so good yesterday, we have to figure out what we could do differently today to make it be better. To wake up a little bit earlier or to spend more time with yourself and really start working on your mental space and your mental health, which I think really has a lot to do with controlling the rest of your day. So work on that.
I'll turn the camera around. I agree with you. Sorry, I clicked this question in sooner than later. What do you think about the voting thing? I'm going to just keep it simple. I'm doing whatever Michelle Obama tells me to do.
Me and you both. I keep thinking of them every day. Like, what is Obama talking about? What do we need to be? What are you, just his guidance, his leadership was just, I know he knows that we could really use some encouraging things. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with Biden. And, I'm rolling with Michelle too. I'm on your team with that.
Yeah. So this person says, do you buy into this whole new normal thing? I mean, what other choice do you have, right?
Yeah.
Like the serenity prayer, accept the things that you can't change and change the things you can. This is something that we can't change right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that me personally, one thing that I'll just share, I'll be open about. One thing that really stresses me out now is bedtime. Like I know at night now I'm going to be stressed before I go to sleep. I
Mm.
don't know what going to sleep and waking up are the most stressful parts of my day. So what I've done is
That's the joy. Waking up right now is kind of like, okay, I'm up. Yes,
no,
I'm
waking
awake
up is great, but it's like waking up into
to
this
what's going to be
nightmare,
happening. Yeah.
right?
Okay. All
I
right.
think it's that what a couple things I've modified though for the people asking about the new normal. Like change your patterns to adjust to this new normal. I used to wake up every day and lay in bed watching Good Morning America. The first thing I would do is turn on Good Morning America because I want to see what Robin Roberts is doing. I want to see what's happening in the world. Shout out to Gio Benitez. I would turn on Good Morning America. Now I know the first line on Good Morning America is the coronavirus and all the bad headlines of what's happening. So now you know what? Unfortunately, I don't watch Good Morning America anymore. Like at first thing in the morning, I don't check my Instagram. I wake up and I turn on the Calm app and I listen to. I meditate before I even get out the bed. I can't even roll over. And then before I go to bed or when I go in my room, I get off social media and I turn on this. I bought this Galaxy projector in my
Yeah,
room.
you have to send me like where'd you get that? Because I want that. I want
I
that.
sent it to Tiffany. I'll send you the link today.
Okay.
But then now I just turn that on and I listen to the Calm app. I meditate before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep last night meditating. So what it's doing is it's taking my mind off of the stress and putting it on the meditation, and then I just fall asleep. So yeah, you have to buy into the new normal for now.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. We can't control certain things we can't control. And all we need to focus on is what we can control. And so figuring out what that looks like for you and sharing these type of tips, because I've always had the Calm app on my phone and I used it, it was kind of like one of those things I was up and down with, but being more consistent with meditation for me has been my challenge for just myself. I'm not sharing it or talking about it, but be more in tune with balance is what my focus is. So I'm right where you are with just like figuring out, continuing, because you need to keep working on that, but we all do. So who am I to tell you what you need to do? But continuing to work on your pattern for waking up and also for going to sleep. What are you going to do to make that be as comfortable? Because I know with the Calm app, they have a sleep portion to it, right? And it'll help you kind of position yourself to be a little bit more ready for that. So good for you. I'm happy to hear those
And
tastes.
you can set your phone in the app to calling.
Oh,
You can set the app to wake you up also.
oh, okay. Oh, that's a good
So
one. All right.
so
So
I've
it's like
set
an
it up.
alarm.
I've set it up. I've set it up to wake me up at 7:15 every morning.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'm gonna start that tomorrow because I do 7, but I just do the regular alarm. But you can set the Calm app to do that.
Yep.
Oh, I'm on it. Okay.
You
All
can wake
right.
up. You can wake up to Matthew McConaughey every morning.
Hey, hey, mad at that
So
one.
this person says, "Is it true that more men get and die than women?"
I did read something talking about the levels and the percentage. It's hard to say that because it's not enough data that's been put together to show it. Women's bodies is pretty much all, the makeup of it has different processes. And I think that until we have a lot more information out or these numbers are starting to show, it's showing that the numbers are a little bit higher in men. Women tend to have, or I guess men tend to have a few more upper respiratory or cardiac, disorders and symptoms of things of some sort. So there has been numbers that show that men have gotten it more than women, but the percentage is not that big. And I'm sure if we really had all the right numbers set up, that it would probably be not as much as the balance of what we're seeing now. So,
Right. So let me ask you this question because this has come up a couple of times. If you were if they come up with a vaccine, would you take it?
me personally, right now, no, I won't. I'm reading about vaccinations and cures and treatments and all these different terminology. Like, we really need to understand what exactly it is. But I don't think that, I believe that we would eventually have a vaccination, but we still need a lot more time. And so this first batch, I'm not sure. I'm just going to continue to do what I can to be as healthy internally as I can to not get it right now. For me, I feel like we need a lot more information and a lot more research to show the safetiness of getting these vaccinations. So until we have that, I'm just going to be watching it as it grows and as they figure out what's going to be working together. It has to be a lot more testing done, a lot more studies first.
I know that Dr. Fauci has said that the virus is going to tell us when this is all over, but have you started to see a curve in LA? I know they said, I mean, it seems like California, our governor, and the people, at least in LA, seem to be doing a pretty good job, right?
Yeah, we are doing a lot better job. And of course, we're not talking enough about how much better we are doing. I did have to leave and go to the pharmacy a couple of days ago just to be able to see how many people are not in the streets as much as they are, showing that things are working. Anthony Fauci talked about that too, that the stay-at-home orders have been showing a lot more progress is being made. So now they can, once the epidemiologists are getting involved and really taking control of everything, that's when we'll be able to see how long this will go. But yes, we are all hopeful that the fall is when, for me, I'm just really prayerful, faithful to the fact that we're seeing things change, but there has to be some adjustments to this curve that we're facing right now with when we do implement being able to go back out, how that's going to look for us. So I think there's a lot of that study that has to go with that before we can say if fall is, proper numbers for that.
Okay. How long can you reuse the average mask that our local stores are selling? And by the way, hey, Ray, he's in New York.
That's a good question, because honestly, these masks, the N95 and the surgical masks, they're supposed to be protecting like 95%. But, we talked about how small the virus is. And so there's always going to be a percentage. Nothing's going to help 100%. But I see a lot of people are trying to figure out how to reuse the mask. So the masks are definitely helpful. They're not necessarily preventing everything. And so that's what we need to recognize, that if you only have a few, use those. If I have to leave and go outside of my home, I'm kind of recycling, my mask internally in the house and just going out to take the dog out. But we're not really supposed to do that. These masks are really only made for a single use. So that's what's interesting right now, is how many people are using the reusable ones versus the ones that are really supposed to be. You know what? You had told me the first week when we started that you had ordered some masks through Amazon.
They never came.
They never came. But guess what? Mine, I just got a refund yesterday. They didn't even give me no excuse as to why I couldn't order those. They just gave me my money back.
Excuse. They said because there's such a demand for healthcare workers that they weren't sending mine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean,
which is fine.
I don't need to go out. Right? I mean, I'm fine. I think for me, I need to, I almost started smoking weed, but then I read that you're not supposed to be smoking weed. So I need to find my own ways of just finding my own peace, because it's not anything other than in my mind. I'm struggling with adapting to this new normal,
It's hard for me in my position to, promote different other ways, because I know there are smokers and people who have used this time to help them calm, but we need to understand that it's about the chest and the lungs, and that doesn't really help with smoking. But if you have to find something to do, I say edibles are not as bad of an option for the smokers. So we could, entertain some of those things. Of course, for my position, I can't promote, but I'm just saying, like, for the people who are still going to do it, the transition maybe could be edibles or, something that's a little harsh on lungs. So that's a good thing to know.
Why are so many Black people dying from the virus in comparison to other races?
We talked about that before. Black people have a lot more diseases and disorders that have pushed them to be in this bracket of being able to be more on the side of dying from the virus or getting more sick or having it be affecting them a lot more. the heart, the blood pressure, any type of heart issues, diabetes, those are a lot of common. We're leading that race in that. And that's the part that's a little bit disheartening, is that we as a community have to continue to get better with what we're eating. And so I think that will actually change some of this once we get out of this situation that we're in and move forward. Like, we have a lot of issues there, and a lot of it is just due to not only genetics but our diets. And so that's what some of these issues are kind of turning and looking at now. So let's do better. Are you eating right? Are you drinking the right kind of water? And are you really sweating and nourishing your body and exercising? These are some things that we can continue to focus on to help kind of increase that curve of everybody feeling a little bit better from that side.
How is it that some people have the symptoms and some don't? Some get, is it just that everybody responds differently to the virus?
Yeah, people's bodies respond differently to the virus. I mean, with any type of issue or injury or illness, you have symptoms and you have those who are asymptomatic. I mean, it can happen with illnesses. Some people's immune systems are a lot stronger. Some of them are a lot more compromised. It just depends on type of, everybody's body is different. So yeah, that's interesting to see. I'm still tracking some of my clients and athletes who have symptoms or who are, wondering or has been exposed about it. And so just finding out, what those symptoms are and how we can continue to track. But that's just it's a bad case, it's a bad virus that we have here on our hands. And we have to continue to recognize that it's possible to be asymptomatic. So.
And what's interesting is, with so many more Black people catching it or being affected from it than others, why is it that Africa has the least amount of infections, you think?
There's been some talk about Africa and even some of the treatments and some of the trials of them trying it. That's interesting to see why that's happening. It could be where they're located on the equator, if that changes anything. The temperatures there, the healthcare system is not the same. So their bodies are already kind of compromised from so many other illnesses and things like that. But how they're going to try to transition this and try some things out. We've heard that recently, that some people spoke out and said that, they were going to do some more testing and try some things in Africa. And I just think that this is not a specific area that we need to be kind of focusing on. It's like a world thing, So seeing their numbers is a good thing. But it could be also that they're not being accounted for. They don't have the proper system and the testing system as well. So that could be why we just don't see that. I mean, at the beginning of this whole thing, they were saying that Black people don't have it or can't get it. And now we've seen how that's drastically changed.
Drastically.
By the amount of tests that's being available now and the treatments, and just kind of seeing what some of the symptoms are and how we have to assume that certain people have it or not have it. It's really all about what information is being put out there. So we're not really sure that Africa has it least. It's just what we're being shown right now. So
what are you working on right now, or what information are you working on right now that's not out there? Like I said, I started by saying my doctor told me that she has antibody tests, which is great. What else are you looking at or studying?
I posted something yesterday about the mayor of LA, and the city of LA has, said that they were giving out the free testing. So you can go to the site and look up in your area where you can go and get tested at, which was different.
Tested for it or for the antibodies?
Testing for it. And there's an antibody testing too, but because there's not a lot of that, it started in Stanford, and that's where they started doing all the research to release the antibody testing being happening.
Yeah, like my doctor only has 10.
Right. You only have a few, which is very similar to how we had the actual testing at the beginning. Remember, I told you that my medical offices only had 15 to start with. And so, just hoping that number is going to increase, but also seeing that the city of LA has offered, testing and where you can go and get it and done. And I had a friend who just recently went through that process at a church of getting tested. And, the experience alone, you just have to be careful, but you have to be real mindful of the system and how they're trying it out. It's a tryout process. It's not something that's for sure going to be happening. So we have to be, a little bit more concerned about how we're getting some of these positive cases and, the false cases that are showing different things, and then the retest numbers as well. I had an athlete who was tested positive and then went through the whole process for 2 weeks of being quarantined. And now she tests negative, which is a great thing. I'm so happy for her. But a lot of people aren't doing that second test. A lot of people that either they know they have it or they assume they have it, and then they just get better and go back out into the world. That's not how that's supposed to be. You should definitely follow up with your doctor and have a strict plan and routine for how you're going to go back into that space again of knowing what your next test results are, and then tracking it after that. So this whole 2-week thing, it sounds good, but it's really 3 to 5 weeks that we should be continuing to protect ourselves, doing as much isolation as possible, you know, still practicing all the proper things, just because they're showing some signs that you can get it again. So are we doing all the right things for that, and creating more awareness for the people who have tested positive and then they have to go do a retest? Make sure you go do the retest.
Well, listen, I'm going to take the test this week for sure to see if I've already had it, and I pray that I've already had it so that way I could relieve some stress.
So real quick before you finish that, some months ago when me and you were having conversation and you were sick, and you know we talked about this before, and for some reason it keeps popping up in my mind because I remember that little meme you sent me telling me how sick you were.
Yeah.
With the monkey and so I just it was funny at the time and I'll never forget it, but I remember how bad you were telling me that you were feeling. So I keep thinking that too, saying, you know, which of my friends or family members has been sick from December or November. Because what month was that? That was
I think that was January.
January-ish, right?
January, February, I can't remember, but yeah, it was a while ago.
So.
Yeah, like I said, I hope that I take the test and I've already had it. I mean, it was the worst thing I'd ever experienced, so I'm assuming that that's what it is, because I've never been sick like that.
You said that, and I went back to our message, and those things you said was like, this is the worst I've ever felt. This is it. This is bad.
Yeah, that dry cough, and that's why I think my lungs, even my breathing, like it's not tight to breathe, but like if I get on the treadmill and I get active, like before it would just open up and it would be like, oh, it may be good exercise for my lungs, but now it's really harder. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna take the test and we'll see what's up, but hopefully people are staying safe, and you can continue the conversation on HollywoodUnlocked.com. Go to the website, leave comments, leave video comments. And then later today, I got Ebony Williams from State of the Culture. We're going to talk about what's happening in New York. And
good.
And a big surprise tomorrow, and we're giving away $1,000 every day. That'll make me feel better.
Yes, continue to feel better. Continue to share and spread your knowledge. I'm so proud of you. I'm so thankful that we had the time together just to answer questions, and everybody is sending me a lot more outside of this. So continuing to share and care and talk about all the things that we have to do to get better. It's just all that I want to do. And I just encourage everyone to get your rest, find your routine that's going to help you rest better than what you did yesterday. Make sure that you're staying hydrated. You know, you can put mint leaves in there. You can put different turmeric drops and chlorophyll drops in your water, but stay hydrated. And so let's just try to challenge ourselves to do more with just hydration and rest. And then we set goals and we just obtain those goals and move forward with feeling better, because we got to get through this, and we will, but it's going to take a lot of strength and less stress. So we want to do everything that's going to create less stress on the body and on the mind right now. So you're doing
this is a daily opportunity for people to come and ask questions. For those of you that come back and it seems redundant, again, this is just a space for you to ask questions. If you don't have questions, you don't have to, and you don't have to be here. But you know, we're meeting and running into new people every day, and I just feel like we all need a space to be able to ask the questions that we're not getting answers to directly from the news or wherever. But all right, well, Courtney, we'll talk again tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Feel better. Keep doing well. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.